One of the hardest things that people have to go through in life is financial struggle, relationships, whether you're building them up or you're trying to reestablish a relationship, broken marriages, kids that are running crazy and wild and trying to protect them and love them, and yet they're being defiant. We have political struggles, we have religious struggles, but really one of the biggest things and the hardest things that people deal with, and I've talked to many people about this idea, is change. I think the reason why change is so hard in life is because we as people, we get used to a system, we get used to a pattern. Once we get settled into an ideology or a concept, and then all of a sudden an abruptness happens and then it's change and you have to deal with it. You can either, well, I guess you could say you can either not deal with it and how you deal with it, or you can choose to deal with it. Now, what I mean by that, I guess, if the change occurs, such a dramatic change in your life, and you decide not to deal with it, well, the assumption is that the repercussion could be really harmful and damaging, whether it be physically or financially, emotionally, or whatever. But then if you deal with it, okay, well then you're confronting the issue, you're confronting the change, but how do you deal with it? So it's a kind of a perspective thing. Are you going to think positive about it, or are you just going to bear and grin it and try and get through it without any help or outside help or any resources or anything of like that nature? And so what's this got to do with photography? Well, I'll get to that point in just a minute. When we have to deal with change, a lot of it can, I guess, it kind of messes with your mind, you know. And let me segue to this point. A lot of talk has been going around about mental illness, and for a few years I've been having to struggle with certain things, and so much stress in my life, and so much impounding pressure that goes against my general nature, the way God made me and created me, my psyche, my temperament, my personality, my sense of humor. So much pressure that is not part of the way how I can survive, I guess, mentally or psychologically. It's taken its toll on me. So I started doing a little research, and I was talking to a doctor, and I started talking to a psychiatrist, and it has been determined that there is a sense of mental illness that I'm having to contend with now. Now, let me make this very clear. 30, 40, 50 years ago, if someone was diagnosed with mental illness, it was typically connected with schizophrenia, or we would say he's crazy, or she's suicidal, or he is just, so psychotic that he's rampaging on a sense of fulfillment to satisfy a sexual desire, or murder, or killing, or raping, and that really harsh. Well, which I'm not making it any light, but the fact of the matter is mental illness comes in different forms. And so in my case, it's affected me biologically and psychologically. And I've talked to a few people about this, and I've also talked to some photographers, and online I was watching some other photographers who are using photography to help balance out their life, to help balance whatever they're dealing with, whatever their struggles that they're having to contend with. And photography is not just an avenue as a hobby, but it's also, I guess you could say, a type of medicinal endeavor to keep a balance, to give you a sense of purpose, a sense of goal. And for me personally, I do photography. I do what I do. I get out in different harsh conditions, as you could see in my previous videos. But I do it for myself. I don't do it for you guys, and I mean that gently. Because of the fact of the matter is, I'm not making any money off of this. Very limited people are seeing any images that I post on social media. And so, but for me, this is just a great source of peace and relaxation, and it helps my mind to keep balanced. while I do other things. I enjoy reading. My faith in God as a Christian, that keeps me balanced in the reality of life and the harshness. But make no mistake, I mean, I have good days and bad days just like anyone else, but sometimes those hard days really, really, really hit hard. And it was never like that, years ago until, my whole life was kind of uprooted quite a few years ago, about 10, 12, 15 years ago, and then I've had to contend with so much stress and issues in the past 11 years or so. And so it's culminated to this. So now I'm, talking to people and so forth. So that's just on a personal side. But I think that's something that's very important that we need to realize too. And so in our American culture, we are growing fast in our production process. What used to be 40 hours a week, the most you can work, has now become on average 48 hours a week. So there are days, I'm working, 50 plus hours a week, and there are days I'm working 45 hours a week. And everything is just go, 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 and very little stop and rest. And then you gotta go, you gotta go, you gotta go. And so where's the break? There's got to be a breaking point. And at some point, for some people, suicide is going to be their breaking point. Divorce is going to be their breaking point. Homelessness will be their breaking point. And if we don't learn how to contend with it, and we don't learn how to deal with the confrontations and struggles in life and or people, we're going to wind up being damaged. And it could be potentially fatal. And so, for me, like I said, photography, and I hope for you, whether it be photography or something else, that will give you a sense of balance. Try not to let the pressures of society and clicks or the culture and the social media and all that kind of garbage just bring you down. Let me tell you one thing that I've done. I read an article, and they did a study on Facebook where on the social media of Facebook, where a lot of people have become seriously, extremely depressed because when they see these images of families, of husbands and wives who are incredibly good looking, they've got money, they're in shape, their kids are great, and people are posting comments about how wonderful their husband, how great their wives are, and how smart their kids are, and so forth. Well, there might be some truth to that, but I think it's over exaggerated, where in the reality of other people, it's not so much that. It's not so much that. So social media has its good things for promotion and maybe other avenues, but it's also a false sense of reality. Now, here's the hypocrisy of it. I'm using social media as an avenue to show my images, my photos, and I take you along with me. But the fact of the matter is, I don't care if you like it. I don't care if you don't like it. It's just for me. But ultimately, yeah, I hope you like what I do. I hope you like the videos. I hope you like the images. And I always appreciate it when you give me a thumbs up or a nice comment. Absolutely. That makes it that much more fulfilling. But the goal in and of itself is not to promote myself, to give you guys a false sense of reality. My life is very simple, it's very basic, but it's very hard. And so forth. And I bet you guys are under the same situations as well, maybe different dynamics, but we're not perfect, and things happen that come against us. And so I wanted to just share that with you. I'm going to see if I could try and post a couple of links to some of the photographers that are dealing with this issue as well, some deaths that they had in their family, and also how there was an accident and a guy's using photography to help him through it. So let me go take some images and let's get on with the photography portion.